Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever time it is, wherever you are, whoever you might happen to be. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the show in which we, folks at Nerd Caliber, talk about nerd entertainment news topics that have popped up over the course of the last week. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor in chief of Nerd Caliber, first person shooter on Facebook as a cosplay photographer, burly underscore adopter on Twitter, a couple of other places doing a bunch of other things. Joining me tonight is the equally smooth Byron. Introduce yourself.
Hello, denizens of wherever you are online. It is I, Byron D0, aka real name Byron McNeil. Pardon the scatterbrainness. It's been a long day, but I digress. I am a contributing writer for Nerd Caliber. I am also a social media consultant, and I make video content on occasion. I'm also an artist. Um, I currently have an ongoing series on Webtoons called Sisterhoods. It is a cyberpunk Little Red Riding Hood inspired story. Currently working on episode 3. Don't I'm not forced I'm not forcing the process this time.
Cool, cool.
It'll get done when it gets done.
And you say that's on
Webtoons.
Webtoons. Awesome. Very cool. Also, folks, if you haven't yet seen Spider-Man No Way Home, Byron has a spoiler-free, important spoiler-free
Yes.
review up on nerdcaliber.com, so go check that out. Luminous, welcome to the chat. Yes, you did, in fact, see an image of Ultraman, and we're going to be getting to that about in the middle of the show, it looks like. So, before we get into our topics, we are going to start with, as we have in the last few weeks, a little bit of promo. Please, folks, if you have a Twitch account, we'd love you to go to that URL, twitch.tv/nerdcaliber, and follow us there. And maybe if you're watching any of our live shows on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, you might want to watch them on Twitch. We're trying to build up those numbers, get them closer to what the fantastic numbers we have on Facebook Live and YouTube and so on.
Especially YouTube.
Especially YouTube. Um, so, I'm going to start right off with topic number one as I go around and try to make sure, see whether or not we've got anybody else. Sword in the Stones. Sword in the Stoners says Byron equals sexy.
Ooh.
Ain't gonna deny it. But do keep those
I'm
comments
blushing.
clean there on Twitch. Anyway, our first topic is not specifically about Blue Beetle, but kind of mostly about Blue Beetle. And the news is that Warner Brothers has made some changes to when Blue Beetle actually gets released. It is going to be dropping August 18th of 2023, and this is a pretty big change, it will no longer be either premiering on HBO Max or day date on HBO Max, where it's in theaters and HBO Max. It is now going to be exclusively in theaters.
Wow.
Yeah. So
They're going all in.
they are going all in. It looks like Warner Brothers is making that bet that by 2023, this is all going to be behind us. Okay. Fingers crossed. So the image that I brought up there was, of course, the not Ted Cord Blue Beetle, the more recent one, Jaime Reyes, and that is
Yes.
the character that this movie is based on. Um, Also, the odd Americanization of Last Train to Busan, Last Train to New York, is going to be April 21st, 2023. And I didn't even know they were doing this. Apparently, they're going to be doing an animated take on Wizard of Oz, told from the point of view of the dog, and the movie is called Toto, and that will be February 2nd, 2024. So, good luck, Warner Brothers. Good luck, us, in getting this whole pandemic thing done. I'm still there.
Like wow. Lot to unpack there. You know, I'm excited to see Cholo get his due as an actor. He's really grown with Cobra Kai.
Yep.
So best luck. So this is going to be a huge shot in the arm for him and for his career if it all goes well. Um, as far as Last Train to New York, did we learn nothing from Old Boy
Yeah.
and this Toto this Toto adaptation?
Yep.
It could be funny.
It could be funny. It could be good. It could be interesting. I've heard nothing about it until I saw this article on Variety. Luminous, boo on theater exclusives. I'm 100% with you there, man. I think that is it's the wrong decision. And there have been people who are basically saying, like Joe Russo just tweeted out how for what he calls his mid-scale sized movies that he and his brother are now doing with their production company, that, you know, joint streaming or exclusive streaming just doesn't work. I'm like, that's a really tone deaf thing to say, Joe. That because we can't make the right amount of money, we're requiring you to go to theaters during a pandemic.
Well, that's all they really care about.
I'd like to think the Russos care a little bit more about their audience, but who knows?
That's all studios care about.
Well, that is true. But he wasn't speaking for a studio. He was speaking as a producer of movies. Anyway, yeah, I agree. I've been looking at a lot of these movies that have come out recently. I've been getting a lot of, as has Byron, a lot of screeners for things to put up for various awards consideration. And of the movies that I am interested in, aside from the animated ones, there isn't one of them that's less than 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's the default nowadays. It's, 2.5 hours is the default movie length.
Makes me kind of worried for The Matrix.
True. I don't know how long that is, but it drops tomorrow, so we'll find out. Anyway, moving on to our next topic. This is a cosplayer cosplaying as Albedo, the wonderful sort of side character in the anime Overlord.
Best girl,
a very powerful succubus. And one of the guardians of the main character's labyrinth headquarters, whatever you want to call it, Nazarick. The news is about Overlord, and the news is that they dropped a teaser or a trailer for Season 4. And we will be getting a Season 4 in 2022. We don't know exactly when, but the trailer is out there. It looks fantastic, like the first 3 seasons looked.
Yes.
It doesn't really tell you anything. It's an awful lot of like, ooh, powerful people are about to get it on. Battle sense, of course. Which is, if Albedo had anything to say about it, it would be the other sense.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this one. I at the height of the pandemic, I marathon all Overlord. On Funimation, which it's there. It's a decent enough dub because my personal policy when it comes to isekai, if there's with anime in general, if there's a heavy Western influence, it's more immersive to watch it in English.
Yep. I can see that. I still, some dubs are fantastic. A lot aren't, and for my audio safety, I generally still prefer subs. But
That's fair.
If you did in fact binge watch all of the seasons, then you also realize that Albedo has a challenger for Best Girl. I can't remember the character's name, but that ridiculously sexy lizard lady.
Ooh, oh yes.
Yes. I mean, I don't know who designed the character designs on this, did the animation, but you will lust after a lizard.
Beastars already laid the groundwork for that.
Well, that's true. Anyway, moving on. We're sticking with anime, and boy, I wish we didn't have to put this news out here. That is an image from the anime Please Tell Me Galko-chan. the news is that Galco-chan's manga creator, Kenya Suzuki, or Suzuki Kenya, has been arrested on suspicion of importing child pornography. The 40-year-old mangaka apparently hasn't been convicted, so they're still saying suspicion of, even though he has flat out stated that he has a problem in this regard and could not help himself from buying on the dark web and so on these books. Actually, the problem, it wasn't even on the dark web. It was like one of the dumbest purchases, shipped directly to his house. Anyway, he joins, unfortunately, a long line, a line of mangaka who have gone down this path.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think the only reason it's coming to light now is because Japan has changed its laws in regards to the possession of child pornography.
Yep.
They're nowhere near the severity of what we have here in the States, but it's a start.
Yeah, Japanese, you think we have weird titles for laws. The English translation of the Japanese is the Act on Punishment of Activities Relating to Child Prostitution and Child Pornography and the Protection of Children.
Sure. I'm going to save my rant about Japanese law for my Can We Not.
Yep. Yeah. The biggest name in this, of course, was Watsuki Nobuhiro, the creator of Rurouni Kenshin. Back in 2017, he was charged with possession of child pornography. And again, made a statement that said, yeah, I got a problem. This is what I'm attracted to. And it's like, I gotta, kudos for these, I was going to say a bad word about them, these individuals being honest, about how horrible they are. I guess is a good thing to take away from this. But anyway.
Get help.
Get help.
It's not enough to say that you have a problem.
Yeah.
It's like saying, oh, I have a problem shooting people, and you still have like a ridiculous arsenal of weapons in your bedroom.
Yep. I don't know how many volumes of this particular manga, the Please Tell Me Galko-chan, were. We got one 12-episode adaptation. I'm guessing if there's more to adapt, we're not going to get it, which is fine by me. It was actually a fun and kind of surprising that this guy was into child pornography, because clearly he has a thing for really thick women, or seems to be anyway. Apparently not. Anyway, moving on to a much nicer topic. Although, I'm not really sure of... Anyway. This is, of course, a scene from the classic movie Goonies, or The Goonies.
Never Say Die.
Goonies Never Say Die. The news is that there's going to be a Disney Plus television series that is... the way they put it is inspired by The Goonies. And the best way is to... so the series is called Our Time. And here's the gist of it as written here in comicbook.com. After failing to make it in New York and carrying a heavy secret with her, Stella Cooper, apparently the name of the main character, returns to her distressed automotive hometown to substitute teach. She finds inspiration, hope, and ultimately salvation when she agrees to help 3 students who are pursuing their filmmaking dreams to make a shot-for-shot remake of their favorite movie, The Goonies. And that's what the series is about. It's about this teacher helping kids make a shot-for-shot remake of The Goonies.
Interesting.
Yeah. I guess it's better than rebooting The Goonies as a series, which would just be, I think, idiotic. Crazy. Idiotic. Either way.
I would have loved to see them give it the Willow treatment.
Yeah. So I guess it could work. You could make a series out of Goonies like they're doing with Willow. Good point. It was a movie, and it had a deep enough lore and background and so on that they could stretch that out and expand on it into a series. Okay. And I guess they probably could have done that with Goonies, or with the Goonies, but I just uh,
Uh,
when you got Headband Boy there who went on to become Thanos, I'm not really sure how you interpret that actor and that character again. But moving on to more TV series news. That is, of course, John Hamm as the angel Gabriel in Good Omens, the Netflix series adaptation of the Neil Gaiman Terry Pratchett
Amazon.
book. Amazon adaptation. Thank you very much. Good catch. The news is that John Hamm will be coming back to play Archangel Gabriel again in the second season. And we talked about the second season happening a number of months ago when they announced it. Bringing back, of course, Michael Sheen as Aziraphale, David Tennant as Crowley.
Crowley.
I think it's pronounced Crowley, or is it Crowley?
Oh, Crowley. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's Crowley, actually.
Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to season 2, and now knowing that John Hamm is going to be back in it.
I love John Hamm's performance in season 1.
Oh, he's just the. I mean, slimy isn't the right word for him. Smarmy isn't the right. It's really hard to describe the. Not
Cringe.
even really Chad. What would you call him?
Cringe.
Yes, definitely cringe. Yeah, it's a great performance. It's fantastic, and a wonderful concept from Gaiman and Terry Pratchett of how Gabriel in this weird sort of world of demons and angels might actually appear and have a personality. So very cool.
Making him a cinephobe on top of that.
Well, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
That was the thing that really pushed it over for me about his performance.
Yeah, and in fact that adds to the cringe deeply.
Yes, exactly.
All right, moving on. This is, of course, Master Chief. This is actually from the very recent first look at the trailer for the upcoming live-action series. But the news isn't about Master Chief. It's about the studio that actually first created Halo, Bungie. And the Bungie's head of HR has stepped down. In the midst of all of this, industry Sturm und Drang about how terrible gaming companies are, this seems a little odd. The head of HR, Gail DeHaunt, never said anything in any of her statement about stepping down about whether or not it had anything to do with this culture. And in fact, she went on in the statement to point out how, in her words, often Bungie has done the very difficult things of firing people for, doing bad behavior within the workplace. Now, this comes less than a week, as is pointed out in this article on IGN, after IGN's own extensive report on Bungie's work culture, which, guess what, is a den of sexism, boys club culture, HR protection of abusers, put your large-scale game studio, and that is exactly a description of what their culture is like. Bungie is apparently no different than Riot, than Blizzard, than Ubisoft, Quantic Dream. Yeah. So maybe DeHaunt got out when the getting was good. Just saying. Yeah. There might be consequences for Bungie coming down the road.
There's definitely a storm brewing in the gaming industry.
There is, and I think it needs to become a hurricane. Lots of things need to be knocked down and blown away. Not the least of which is Bobby Kotick, who is not related to Bungie at all, is, of course, the CEO of Blizzard. God. Anyway, let's get on past that.
Yep.
This is the cover image. I think is not exactly the proper way to describe that, because this is the promotional image of John Scalzi's book, The Dispatcher, which was written as initially as an audiobook. It was put out as an audiobook narrated by Zachary Quinto before it was
Ooh.
ever put into physical print. The news is that producer Uri Singer is doing a TV series adaptation of this story, which is a science fiction noir, I guess would be the best way to put it. I haven't read this.
Cool.
I believe Greg has,
I'm
but
not familiar with it either.
yeah, Greg can't be on tonight. But the basic gist of it is that it's set in a distant future in Chicago, and where a place where it's almost impossible to kill anybody. 99 times out of 1,000, anyone who is intentionally killed comes back through whatever technology means, and I haven't read it, so I don't know for sure. The main character, Tony Valdez, is a dispatcher. This is somebody who is a licensed bonded professional whose job it is to humanely kill people who are about to die so they can come back. And apparently there is some sort of, screw up somewhere. The Valdez winds up teaming up with a Chicago PD detective, Nona Langdon. And it's apparently very popular. One of Scalzi's, popular books. Scalzi, of course, wrote Old Man's War, Red Shirts, and so on. Hugely popular science fiction author. I haven't read it. I'm looking forward to reading it, but I'm also looking forward to seeing the series wherever it lands. This guy Singer.
Sounds like an interesting concept.
I'm sorry.
Sounds like an interesting concept for sure.
Yes. Very cool. Singer produced Underworld, a Netflix feature film. So you think it might wind up going towards Netflix. I don't know whether or not Singer has any sort of, development deal with them or not. So, and of course, it was just announced that this is in development to become a series, so no sense whatsoever of when it might actually land anywhere. Speaking of developments, this is just a promotional image, but of Rebecca Roanhorse's Black Sun. And AMC has bought the rights to make an adaptation of Black Sun, a fantasy novel, the first in a series, that is described here as sort of a pre-Columbian fantasy saga, and basically it's a pre-Columbian inspired fantasy world. It's not set in actual Central or South America before the Europeans got there. It is a fantasy world, but the world is very much inspired by pre-Columbian Central and South American civilizations and cultures. Nominee for this year's Hugo Awards. So a very well-received book. The second book is coming out in April, called Fevered Star. Roanhorse won a Hugo in 2017 for a short story called Welcome to Your Authentic Indian Experience, which is one of the best titles I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So big ups to Roanhorse. I'm assuming this, there was a bidding war apparently for who got this. So I'm assuming AMC, paid some bucks, and
hopefully it's not just on the streaming service.
Well, true. Well, but yeah, if it's AMC, it's either going to be on the streaming service and, their linear, which is the term they use now for TV. So yeah, I would assume it's going to be on both. Is there anything that is just AMC Plus?
I'm not sure. I haven't had. I've only seen the ads for the ads on YouTube and such.
Yeah, I mean, I've got AMC Plus. I got it for something. Sword and the Stoners. I missed this comment. Goonies never say die. That goes back to a previous article. so I'm not really sure. I have it. I can't remember what I got it for. Doctor Who. I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
And I've looked at it since I watched some Doctor Who episodes back when it first launched. But I couldn't tell you whether there's any exclusives, AMC Plus onlys on there or not. I don't think there are. Don't take my word for it. Anyway, so big ups for Roan Horse. All right, here you go, Luminous. There's your Ultraman. I believe this image is from the recent sort of live action series or CG / live action series
On Netflix.
But the news is actually about a bunch of things, including an Ultraman movie that's just sort of buried in this Variety article about, Toho, the Japanese studio, announcing some things that are coming up in 2022. And one of them is, in May, we're going to get Shin Ultraman. And if that Shin part of it sounds familiar, like Shin Godzilla, that is because Hideaki Anno, who made Shin Godzilla, is making Shin Ultraman. Of course, the creator of Evangelion, the bizarre genius. I got to say, I've not been a big Ultraman fan, but boy,
Me either.
Having Ano-san attached to it, yeah, I'm gonna check it out for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, this news comes right on the heels of his Shin Kamen Rider project that he announced too.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so
we did that. Months ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Good point.
I can see his style working better with, say, Kamen Rider, which has its roots in body horror, since classic Kamen Rider is about a man who becomes a cyborg.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited for the monster designs in Shin Ultraman, though.
Yes. And whether or not... sorry, go ahead.
If they're anything like Shin Godzilla, they're going to be insane.
And I wonder whether or not he is going to, like he did with Shin Godzilla, sort of change the transformation path of Ultraman. In Shin Godzilla, Godzilla goes through a whole bunch of stages before Godzilla becomes Godzilla, sort of like in Singular Point, the anime.
It makes more sense.
Yeah, and maybe he's going to do something like that with Ultraman, which could very much lean into some body horror stuff as well.
I hope they don't borrow from the anime.
I've not watched that.
I watched one episode of it and it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah. Also in this announcement, by the way, in fall of 2022, we get to see the next movie from Makoto Shinkai.
Ooh.
Or Makoto Shinkai, the creator of Your Name and Weathering with You. This movie is called Suzume Closes the Doors. And it's about 17-year-old Suzume who travels around Japan closing magical doors that keep popping open and allow evil curses to come into the land. If you've watched either of those two movies, you know how awesome Makoto-san is, and I'm really looking forward to this next movie.
Definitely sounds like a very cool premise. I haven't seen any of his yet, mainly because I jumped on the bandwagon a little too late.
Yeah.
And by the time I was interested in watching them, they weren't easily readily available for me to watch.
Yeah. If you can find somewhere legal, of course, or you do you, to watch either of them, but particularly Your Name. Get right on that. It's wonderful. So Toho's doing some really surprising things this year. Looking forward to it. So our next to the last topic, this came out of left field. This is the logo for Dark Horse Comics. English be good for me. The news is that the Swedish gigantic game holding company Embracer Group is buying Dark Horse for an undisclosed amount, but buying Dark Horse Media, which means they get Dark Horse Comics, Dark Horse Publishing. Dark Horse had announced that it was going to actually spin out its own gaming division. So to whatever extent that has been created, Embracer will get that. And I'm kind of wondering, Embracer owns just game publishers and therefore through them game studios. It owns THQ Nordic, Saber Interactive, Koch Media, and so on. Through all of these, publisher level companies it owns 77 different game studios around the world. Including Demiurge Studios right here in Cambridge, a couple of dozen miles that way, which I didn't know. So good ups for them. I hope the folks at Demiurge get something out of it.
Same.
Now they will be running this like they do with all of their, lower tier companies. It will be a completely separate run company that they will be the majority owner of. So apparently Embracer doesn't get in and mess with, the minutia. They just let the companies run.
That's really awesome.
So it shouldn't mean much for Dark Horse going forward. They should still be producing, their wonderful quantity. And if you don't know Dark Horse, folks, it's generally considered to be like the number 4 in the the big groups of comic book publishers. Founded in the mid '80s, and its early stuff was The Mask, Hellboy. Some brilliant work. More recent stuff, Umbrella Academy.
Didn't they do The Max?
No, that was Image.
Oh.
Which is the number 3 of the big. So Dark Horse also licenses a ton of stuff. At various times, Dark Horse has licensed Star Wars, has licensed Conan, currently is licensing Stranger Things. They license a lot of material.
They were doing manga at one point too.
I don't know. They may still. I don't know. So why Embracer wants this, is Embracer trying to get into, well, clearly they bought them or will be buying them. They are into the comic book publishing world. But are they also trying to get the intellectual property of things like Hellboy and so on, Grendel, classic Grendel, to develop as games? Who knows? We'll have to see where all of this shakes out. This is according to this article, this is the second major purchase agreement made by Embracer in, they say, recent weeks. Their subsidiary THQ Nordic bought a board game maker, Asmodee, for almost $3 billion. So apparently they're also getting into board games. So good for Embracer. Oh, that was our third to the last article. Now we've got to our penultimate article. This is some of the latest cast members announced for the upcoming Avatar: The Last Airbender series on Netflix, and continuing in their wonderful representation path. These people are, absolutely the right ethnicity for the characters they're playing. From the left in the red, you've got Elizabeth Yu, who will be Azula. Then you've got Tamlin Tomita, who will be Yukari. Then you have Yvonne Chapman, who will be the Avatar Kyoshi. Not pictured in this particular picture is Maria Zhang, who will be Suki, and Casey Camp Horinek, who is going to be playing Gran Gran. And is clearly, I don't know what particular ethnicity within indigenous North American people she is, but based on the photo that they've put up here, the jewelry that she is wearing, she's clearly in the appropriate ethnicity. She is a native lands
Yes.
person of some sort.
Yeah, they're going for more of an Alaskan ethnicity, right?
Yeah. So Katara is going to be played by Kyo Antio, who is Canadian native peoples. Again, I don't remember what particular tribe or ethnicity, but definitely. As is Ian Owsley, I think American native, who's playing Sokka. So good on them. And I guess I really like this casting. I really like the fact that Netflix is continuing to do this. The show could suck, you never know.
So yeah.
But at least they're casting the right kind of people. And just as an aside, this website that I saw this on, TV Insider, kudos to them. The photo montage that they have that has all of the people that have been announced has their name and pronouns for each one of them. Good on them. That they, went out and either searched for this, or the people that have been cast put this right out in their bios anyway. So that was a nice up. I like that.
And a lot of people behind the scenes are of Asian descent, so
Yep.
that's another bonus.
Yep. Albert Kim is the showrunner. Michael Goy is executive producing, as was Dan Lin. Lindsay Liberatore, I don't know who that person is. Goy will also co-direct with co-executive producer Roseanne Liang, Jabbar Raisani, and Jet Wilkinson. So, Goy has directed Swamp Thing and American Horror Story episodes. And Kim was a producer on Sleepy Hollow and Nikita. So, some good stuff. Good TV. Luminous. I've never been an Ultraman fan, but Shin Ultraman looks good so far. The trailers look similar to Shin Godzilla. Apparently they did drop a trailer last week or something, and another thing that I just completely missed about this, Ultraman news. So, I'll go back and look at that. Thank you for pointing that out. I forgot about it. All right, now we get to our last topic. That is a screen grab from the first trailer for The Witcher Blood Origins, the prequel series that tells the story of the elves' conflict with the humans when they first arrived to the continent, and the creation of the first Witcher. I'm just, Michelle Yeoh as a incredibly badass elf warrior. Done, sold, sign me up. If I didn't already have Netflix, I'd get that subscription. Just for that.
Indeed. I'm kind of behind on the Witcher series, but I definitely want to check this out. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's great to see Michelle Yeoh getting her due as an actress and not just as an action star. It's like she's still sticking to her roots.
Yep.
Using her martial arts background, but she's branching out and she's doing more meaty roles.
Yep.
Like this. And what's with Angela Bassett and Carla Gugino, Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yes, Gunpowder Milkshake. Her role as Philippa Georgiou in Star Trek Discovery. There is one scene in which she, as the Empress of the Terran Empire version of Philippa Georgiou, spoiler for season 1, it wields a sword, and that's pretty much the only hint of martial arts work that she does in this. That's not true. She gets into a couple of hand-to-hand fights in season 3, or season 2, I should say. And again, I don't want to give away why, but it's an interesting development of the character. But she is clearly not a martial arts character in this show. And of course, if you've seen that, we talked about this last week, the trailer for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Oh my God, is she good in that? I can't wait to see that. Fantastic movie. Anyway, this 6-episode live-action limited series, The Witcher Blood Origin, will drop sometime this coming year. Netflix has given us that, even though they haven't said when. And the trailer just looks exciting as hell. I'm very keen on this. The Witcher Season 2 is going to be, so I'm going to do a little promo in advance, is going to be our topic Thursday for Full Fat Spoiler Chat. So if you have seen Season 2, and or you don't mind spoilers, if you haven't seen it, then please tune in right here on all of these streaming social media thingies we do Thursday at 8. Anyway, that's our last topic. Byron, I believe you did say you have a could we please or could we not?
Yes, could we not? So last week, one of my YouTubers got a bunch of his videos taken down by Toei Entertainment. He goes by the name of totally not Mark. His real name is Mark Fitzpatrick. He's based out of Ireland. He's done a lot of Dragon Ball and One Piece videos, which are 2 IPs that are owned by Toei. And for like a week straight, he fought tooth and nail to try to do all of his videos back up. He got a few back up, but eventually he realized that it was a fool's errand and he had to back away. So my could we not is, could we not tolerate this kind of BS from studios? I get it. Japan doesn't have fair use. They don't do things the way we do here. But as I've been told many times in my life, vote with your wallet. I'm urging anyone who is against this clutching my pearls mentality to avoid two of Toei's biggest upcoming films that are going to be coming stateside: One Piece Movie Red and Dragon Ball Super Superheroes. Like, this is unacceptable.
Yep. These
companies are throwing away free advertisements simply because they want to clutch their pearls. They're not the only company that does it. Nintendo's notorious for it. But if you can make your voice heard, this is the best way to do it.
Yep. I agree 100%. I also will add that I suggested on Twitter to YouTube, which of course is not going to pay attention to me, but so the problem here is that YouTube lets people do this. Yes. Because of their Content ID system and the way if anybody, studio or otherwise, makes a claim that you are using copywritten material in a way that is not appropriate or legal, YouTube sides automatically with the complainant and forces you to take your content down.
And it's ridiculous because a lot of the videos in question were all stills in all of his work, and which on paper that should be fine. And he's some of the videos are taken down were videos of him redrawing scenes from Dragon Ball.
Right. And those were the ones that were brought back up. Apparently, even the lawyers in Japan realized that was not a copyright because it wasn't their work. But my suggestion was, this is really simple to solve. And it needs to be solved because YouTube is aiding and abetting fraudulent legal claims in at least the United States. And, if there was anybody out there that was a YouTube channel large enough that had deep enough pockets, they could bring a class action suit against YouTube for fraudulent aiding and abetting these fraudulent legal claims.
I mean, even PewDiePie can't make a dent with this, and he's been one of the loudest supporters of Totally Not Mark.
Yeah, no, making a dent isn't going to do it. Frankly, it's got to be somebody's got to sue YouTube. Or YouTube, this is real easy. Make a verified status for YouTube channels that, like Twitter verification, is only given out after a certain amount of review is done of their work, and this is based entirely on reviewers and opinion makers or givers who have shown that they abide by fair use practices within the country that they are residing in. And then for those people who have that verified status, when somebody files a claim, the proof of the claim is immediately on the claimant, not on the channel. Like it is in every jurisprudence everywhere. You're so worried about getting sued by Toei or Nintendo or whatever when they are absolutely putting these claims, copyright claims and content ID claims, against people who are using fair use within the country of their origin. So it's a big internet world. Figure out a way to stop this stuff from being shown in Japan. Done.
Oh yeah, because Japan has like their own infrastructure when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
YouTubers in Japan are terrified of sharing, of doing that kind of stuff for this very reason.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've ranted on that long enough, but I agree 100%. It's got to be fixed. We have made a statement here that we will not be covering Toei content until this is fixed. Yes. So you will not be seeing a review of those two movies on nerdcaliber.com or here. We won't be talking about Toei stuff on Nerd Week Live. Yeah, we got 600.
I mean, we can still talk about like the mangas in question because Shueisha, Shueisha and Toei are two different animals.
Absolutely. But when it comes to the anime, nope. The movies, nope. Not going to talk about them. And we're
I might watch them when they come
630,000 subscribers. We're not really big enough to have any impact whatsoever. And even as Byron said, PewDiePie is not going to have any impact. So, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't make this stance, and we're going to make this stance. Anyway, that's it.
200 subscribers. Even my 200 subscribers, I still am completely like use whatever event influence I might have to fight for this.
Exactly. All right, folks. That's it for our show. That's it for our rant. And we're going to end here like we do normally with a plea to, if you're checking out websites and URLs, check out this one, patreon.com/nerdcaliber. If you go there and you decide you want to be a patron, we'd love to have you. We have 3 tiers. $2 is the lowest tier. Basically, this money coming in from Patreon winds up going to help us get to more and more conventions, assuming they continue to happen. Omicron, go away. And bring that content to you here on our various streaming platforms, YouTube, etc., as well as nerdcaliber.com with galleries and so on. We're currently in the middle of putting up all the galleries from Emerald City Comic-Con a couple of weekends ago out there in the beautiful Seattle. So check those out. On Instagram, Dave at the Con is our photographer from out there. Well, actually, he's from over here, but flew out there. So that's it, folks. We will see you at the Full Fat Spoiler Chat, The Witcher 2, assuming you've seen it. Next Monday is Anime Octane, and we will be discussing the, I'm sorry, problematically named because it's so damn long, but the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. Anime.
That's a lot. That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
There's got to be some sort of portmanteau. I'm gonna look it up over the week. And
yeah, I don't know if there's a particular portmanteau. I believe it's generally called World's Finest Assassin, but as a short. And Luminous, thank you. Good night, all, and good night back to you. Please, folks, stay safe. I got my booster shot yesterday, and my arm's a little sore. I had some weird sort of head cold symptoms yesterday, and that's it. Done. I know other people have had more reactions. I was a Pfizer guy and wound up getting a Moderna mix, so I'm a mix and match person, and I'm okay. And if you haven't got your vaccinations at all, go get those, please. Wear your masks. You're going to be forced to anyway, or at least advised to, depending on what state. Massachusetts just put through, again, a mask advisory that everybody should be wearing a mask anywhere indoors. Boston has made vaccine. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've heard it's about to go mandatory.
No, Baker has said he will not go mandatory. In fact, he made that, someone asked him that at the press conference, and he said very clearly that there are enough other solutions that mandatory is not the way he's going to go. Having said that, Boston has implemented a mandatory vaccination proof for almost any kind of large entertainment venue you want to get into. Movie theaters, gyms, you name it, you will have to show proof of vaccination just to enter in Boston. And there are other cities that are considering doing the same thing. Chicago is really close to making that announcement. So, folks,
take a picture of your card if you have. You don't have to drag your card with you everywhere.
Or bring one of the there are apps out there, official approved apps that have your record in it. And again, you can bring up it's not a photo of your card, but it's a representation of your card. Either way. But yeah. So please, folks, stay safe. The holidays are here. The holidays have been here for, about 3 weeks now, but, the holidays are ramping up. We've got, Christmas and Kwanzaa coming right up, and then New Year's right after that. So folks, be safe. Anyway, that's enough. We'll see you at an upcoming show.